We are in London with the leader of the Iraqi International Expatriates organization, who is talking about the situation in his native country, especially about the role of Iran. You have an idea which is not common about this role, and especially about the war, because you say that Iran is really ally with ISIS, with Daesh, and also America is part of this conspiracy. How do you justify this idea?
Well, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to talk about this. Well, we are pleased to be here and to explain for the people and the international community that the actual ruler in Iraq on the ground at the moment, it is Iran. The alliance between Iran and America has allowed for ISIS to be exposed in Iraq, and has allowed for ISIS to commit the crimes against the people whom they were ruling, like for example in Mosul, in Ramadi, in Salah ad-Din. In all of the areas that's been occupied by ISIS, they committed crimes against the people whom they live in that area. And if we look in a very simple look, if we just look at the map, we will see wherever there is ISIS, there will be Iran, and wherever there is Iran, there is a cover, a backup cover by the international coalition headed by the United States. So it is, we as Iraqis, we believe that ISIS is backed by Iran and by America, regardless what we are seeing and what we are hearing from the international media and Iran media. It's all a fake media. The actual story, the actual disaster in Iraq, it is the crimes committed by the Iranian militias and the what's so-called the Iraqi government against ISIS. They are not against ISIS. They are against people whom they were live in Fallujah, in Anbar, in Mosul, and in Salah ad-Din. And that's why we cannot see. We haven't seen any. They didn't claim killing any of the ISIS leaders. They were always claiming they killed and so did what they did. But the victims are the Iraqi people, the innocent Iraqi people.
So who is fighting now really ISIS? Only the Kurds?
They are fighting ISIS. It is a tool for the Iranians and the Americans in order to kill and to commit crime against the Iraqi government, the Iraqi people. Iraqi people become like a sandwich. They become under the hammer of the ISIS and the base of the Iranian militias, and backed by the international coalition with the airstrikes. All the victims, all the casualties, it is from the Iraqi innocent people. If you look at a very simple search in Google or YouTube, you will see plenty, massive amount of films and videos showing you exactly what's happening and what the Iranian militias are doing in Iraq. So the story of fighting ISIS in Iraq, it is a fake story, it is a false story, and that's why we are here today in order to explain for the international community and for the world that Iran are the actual ruler in Iraq, and they are not fighting ISIS, they are killing the innocent Iraqis under the title of fighting ISIS. This is in simple words.
For many years, the United States and Iran have been at loggerheads, have been enemies, and just a few months they signed a deal, and so they improve their relations. So how can we believe that United States and Iran are secretly allies?
Well, let me give you two examples here. The first example is when America led the invasion into Iraq. The Iranian leader, or one of the Iranian leaders, has announced clearly that without the help of Iran, America wouldn't be able to occupy Kabul and Baghdad. And that was clearly claimed by one of the Iranians, I believe it was Rafsanjani. Iraqi nuclear system was designed for peaceful purposes, was being hit by Israel in 80s last century. Iran was announcing since 90s last century till now, announcing of having a nuclear system, and didn't claim that it is for peaceful purposes, and nobody hit it. In fact, what the Americans did, and this is a very obvious example of the alliance between Iran and America. America invade Iraq and hand it into the Iranians' hands. And this is in a simple words. If you look at the geopolitical map of Iraq now, all what you can see, it is a rule of Iran in every single part of Iraq, with all aspects of seeing figures like Abadi and the other leaders. They are all tools in the hand of Iran's. And who did give Iran this power? It is America, and that's why we believe, and we are strongly believe, that Iran wouldn't have this power and wouldn't have all this power on Iraq without the help and support of the Americans.
And what's the role of Israel?
Well, the role of Israel, we had a combination role in Iraq. We had a combination role of Israel, American, and Iran in Iraq. Who killed the Iraqi scientists was Israel, and with the help of Iran. Who killed the Iraqi pilots, officers, and ex-army officers? They were killed by Iran. And all these powers was being backed by the Americans. And to understand what determine, or what is the actual reason behind invading Iraq, it's not to expose the democracy. This is a fake slogan that nobody can believe it. The actual reason of invading Iraq, it's to divide Iraq into pieces, as we have seen now. When the Americans came into Iraq, they used the sectarian card, and they divided Iraq politically in between Sunnis and Shiites and Kurds and other sects. The actual rule of Iran in Iraq was not only backed by the Americans, was backed also by the Israelis. How? It's by sending the security companies, whom they were most of them, 90% of them, they came from an Israeli origin, and they were responsible of getting rid of the Iraqi scientists. And we all heard about the rumors of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi that had been trained in Israel and so on.
Okay, but Israel pushed the West, in particular the United States, to move war against Iran, however, not to end the sanctions against this country. And how can you explain that Israel can be secretly allied to Iran?
Well, let me tell you something. Since the 40s, last century, till now, have you ever heard that Iran has been thrown a stone into Israel? Have Iran give any martyrs, any of their nation for the sake of Palestine? They are claiming supporting Palestinians and Palestine.
They support Hezbollah.
Hezbollah is not Palestinian. Hezbollah is Lebanese, and Hezbollah clearly.
Hezbollah has moved war against Israel.
Well,
2006.
I don't want to go into this unend discussion, because Hezbollah has been backed by Iran, and the leader of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, has said it clearly. I am loyal to the Wali al-Faqih, which is Khamenei, the leader of the Iranian what's so-called the Iranian Islamic Revolution. But the actual ruler and the actual supporter for Iran, it is Israel and America. How is that? Give me any evidence that there was a confrontation between Iran and Israel for the last 5 decades. There is no confrontation between Iran and Israel for the last 5 decades. This is number one. Number two, Iran was claiming supporting the Palestinians and Palestine and the freedom of Palestinians. They didn't even throw a stone into Israel. And I would finish my comment with a very nice article I've read in Haaretz newspaper. It says that the the hatred between Iran and Israel, it's a wanted hatred. It's a very wanted hatred because it's become like the oil when you put it in the machine. Without this hatred, they wouldn't be able to control the whole area. Iran is trying to control the whole area. Israel trying to control its state and trying to extend the state of Israel from the river to the river. And also Iran has their own agenda in this territory. So the agenda of Israel with the agenda of Iran wouldn't be capable to be implemented unless there will be a very strong collaboration and cooperation between Iran and Israel, and that's why the cost of this collaboration and the cost of this alliance is the Arab and the Muslims people. So it is a war against Islam, a war against Arabs. They don't want to see Arabs, they don't want to see Islam in this area. And all this Islamophobia and other tragical stories we are hearing about Islam, it is all being prepared by Iran and Israel, or by the militias or the electronic army made by Israel, and that's we can see clearly in the media and everywhere you read about the rule of Israel in the territory and Iran.
Before dying, Saddam Hussein warned the Iraqis about Persians. What did he mean?
Well, he meant the Persians' ambitions of occupying Iraq. He meant the hatred, the full Persian character hatred against the Arabs represented by Iraq. He meant actually all what we are living at the moment. That was exactly what was Saddam Hussein saying at that time. And let's not forget that in back days, in Khomeini in his early days, and according to the new WikiLeaks papers, Khomeini was cooperating with the Americans, with the CIA since 1960s, last centuries, and the 60s of the last century, and he was being prepared into.
But the Shah was a close ally of the United States.
Yeah, but the Shah, at his last few years, he started to open channels with the Arabs and with the whole countries surrounding Iran, in order to get rid of the confrontation between Arabs and Persians. So the last convention or the last convention that's been signed by Shah and Iraq in 1975. This didn't come for the American satisfaction. That's why they made the decision.
Was it about the Shatt al-Arab?
It was about the Shatt al-Arab, the Arab River, and when Shah signed this, I believe that when Shah decided to sign this convention, this was the point where the Americans made their decision to get rid of Shah and also to prepare Khomeini for the next stage of division the territory into pieces. So they brought Khomeini in 1970.
The Iranians made a revolution against the Shah. Uncountable people took to the streets.
I'm talking about the revolution. Khomeini was in France, was in your country when he was in France when the revolution, what's so called the revolution, occurred. And by the way, the Mujahideen Khalq, whom they are now being attacked by the Iranians militias in Iraq and been attacked by the Iranian government in Iraq, and they've been followed up by the traced by the Iranian intelligence in the world. They were a part of the Islamic Revolution. So why they didn't give the opportunity to rule Iran, and they give all the opportunity for Khomeini? The answer on this, because Khomeini was well prepared for this for this stage, and if you look thoroughly, you will see that the first thing that Khomeini decided to do is to go into a war with Iraq, the war that ended up by having the glass of poison, and then after 2 years, America has pushed Iraq into making what's so called the first
war against Iraq.
The war against Iraq in 1990s, and then they put Iraq under sanction for 13 years, and after 13 years they returned back to re-expose the Safawi revolution, not the Islamic revolution. Islamic revolution, it is a false terms for the revolution that Khomeini led. Khomeini led the Safawism revolution, not the Islamic revolution, and that's why he failed to expose this revolution and the sectarian hatred between the nation in 1970s, in the late 1970s, and he tried to. The Americans came in 2003 to complete this what's so called the Islamic revolution, but in fact it is a Safawism revolution.
What's the final outcome of the Iraqi crisis? What we can predict? Will the country be divided?
Regarding any outcome of any plan, any agenda that they are trying to implement in Iraq, Iraqis they will keep there, and they will fight for their country. They will fight for their freedom. Fallujah, that small city, they wouldn't been able to invade Fallujah as the Americans tried, and they failed. As the British, they tried in last century, in the 40s of last centuries, and they failed. Now we are promising Iran, America, and Israel, and the whole international community, Iraq will return stronger than before on the hand of his own people, not the stooges whom they are, the actual rulers of Iraq now. Iraq will keep united, will keep its sovereignty from south to north, with all the it will all
also from Turkey.
All its mosaic parts, Kurds, Arab, Sunni, Shia, all of them, they will fight for their country, and none of the agendas that's been trying to be implemented by Israel or Iran or America will stay longer in Iraq very soon.